Hello, everyone, and welcome to this PowerPoint where I'll be ranking the books in the Malazan Book of the Fallen series after my reread and have a look at how these rankings have changed compared to my first read through of the books a couple of years ago. Now, rankings and lists can be considered quite pointless, and I can also agree with that. They can be pretty pointless depending on your point of view, but me personally, I can't help but to enjoy them. I like viewing other people's lists, which helps me get an overview of a person's tastes, and I often find a lot of good reading suggestions in top lists of various kinds. More importantly, I enjoy doing them myself because it forces me to give some opinions, um, give my own opinions, some thoughts, and maybe even manage to put words to them. So last month I finished my reread of Malazan Book of the Fallen, the best fantasy series I've ever read, arguably the best books I've read, period. And overall, with one exception, I enjoyed all the books more this time around than the first time around. You often hear that about Malazan, that it grows on you on subsequent reads, and that is certainly true. That doesn't mean that you have to read it twice just to understand what's going on. No, but it adds an extra dimension when you have the full picture and then you start over again. So let's have a look at how I rank this. So let's have a look at how I rank the books now and compare them to how I ranked them back in 2020. All right, so here are my initial rankings from my first read through a couple of years ago. Not really that many surprises, with the exception of me ranking Memories of Ice a bit lower than most and Guardians of the Moon a bit higher than most. I put Midnight Tides at the top, but really it was a toss-up between Midnight Tides and Deadhouse Gates, with the Bone Hunters as a rather solid choice at third place. And at the bottom, we have House of Chains. I remember thinking it was rather good, especially the first section with the introduction of Karsa, but over time it kind of faded, and all the subsequent books then surpassed it. I was also a bit frustrated by the rather spectacular ending. So what happened this time around? So let's move on then to my current ranking. So some major changes right off the bat. At number 10, the only book that I didn't enjoy as much as my first read through is The Bone Hunters. Yeah, significant drop there from third place down to the very bottom. And as I said, the only book in the series that I enjoyed slightly less than the first time around. That is by Malazan standards. Had this been a standalone, chapter 7 alone would have made it one of my favorite books, probably. But let's move on. Another drop here at number 9. There aren't a lot of you watching this anyway, but let's pretend. At number 9, everyone's favorite book of all time. A book that never really resonated with me. That would be Memories of Ice. Please don't be mad. It's just how I feel. I'm sorry. Doesn't do it for me in the way it does seem to do for the average Malazan fan. Then a few entries where not much has changed. At number 8, we have Reaper's Gales, and 7, Tall the Hounds. It's a bit of a toss-up between these two as well. Reaper's Gale got the lower spot here due to it containing one of my least favorite plot lines in the entire series. That's the overly long fetch quest containing some rather dull characters. Now, by now, it's obvious that House of Chains has moved up quite a bit. How far? You ask. Well, given that I'm doing this in reverse order and just started talking about it, you probably figured that out. So let's see. What? Look at that. Did I just do that? Damned right I did. I was not expecting this, but after giving it a lot of thought, there's really no place else it could have gotten. Love this book this time around. Imagine my surprise. It started off really good. This time it just got better, and as opposed to last time, it didn't fade over time. It wasn't surpassed by the other books. The very opposite. It stayed with me. It became a constant presence at the back of my mind. And speaking of my mind, in my mind, the story of Felicin kind of is the human backbone of this entire series. And yeah, so House of Chains, number one, due to Karsa, due to Felicin, due to the ending, which knowing how it will end going in kind of made me less frustrated, and I saw how ingenious it really was. Still makes me mad. Also, just the ending scenes where you get the POV. I'm not going to spoil too much, but if you've read it, you know that you get this POV from a character in a helmet going down to face the opponent, and it's so visceral, it's so gritty, it's so real. It's amazing. The writing is amazing. Right. So moving on, let's see what else this list has in store for us. So just as the last time, it's really a toss-up between Deadhouse Gates and Midnight Tides. This time, Deadhouse Gates kind of got the edge here. Once again, probably due to Felicin's storyline growing on me so much. I loved the storyline the first time around, but it was even more this time around, All right, so at number 4, another surprise, the book most fans of the series consider to be a contender for the worst, or well, least excellent book in the series, and that would be Dust of Dreams. And maybe some recency bias at play here, but I did think that the setup was better than the wrap-up, so to speak, compared to the Crippled God. Then, in fact, as you see, I actually have Garners of the Moon right in between Dust of Dreams and the Crippled God. So as for Gardens, it's a slight improvement, but it's pretty much where I had it last time around. I think the first installment of this epic is generally a bit underrated. Even though it kind of stands out a bit in tone and in structure. And yeah, that's about it. I'm not gonna go into this in further details. I have spoiler videos on all the books I recorded throughout my reread for those who wants more of my confused thoughts on the individual books. So that's it for now. I plan to do some more Malazan related stuff, but we'll see when I get around to recording those. That's it for now. See you in the next one, whenever that will be.